So right here I have the Americas. You have the Americas, which is divided here. You'll find this on the internet. They call it the Western Interior Seaway. But on the internet, they'll tell you it was a couple of million years ago, back in the Crustacean years. When you come here, you'll go to Minnesota, and you'll find the Kensington Runestones. Kensington Runestone is located here. You come down a little bit more, in Oklahoma, they have some runestones also, which is called the Heavener. The Heavener Runestones. And then on this side of Montana, there's a replica of the Kensington Runestones. So it would make sense if the Vikings did come in from this way. And they came in and they parked here maybe.
You're going to love this interview, so grab your organic popcorn and your favorite beverage, and make sure to click the bell here on YouTube for all notifications. A lot of people aren't getting the notifications, so just make sure you check back daily for new content. Make sure the bell's clicked. And also, check us out over on Patreon, where you can watch this interview in full, uncensored, ad-free, with thousands of hours of exclusive content you're only going to get on our Patreon page. And also check us out over on Rumble. We do live shows daily. All right, let's jump back to the podcast, and thanks for being here with us, and thanks for being the change the world needs to see.
Yeah, so the Kensington Runestones, it had on the Runestones, it said 8 Godolanders and 22 Northmen. On this exploration, that runestone was found wrapped up in roots of like an aspen tree. And that word aspen is a Greek word that means shield. So we have the flood here, the flood story for us Navajos, pretty much showing that water did come. And for us Navajos, the locust is the one that told us Navajos that the water was coming. We could not see the water coming, but the insect was able to feel the vibrations. He could feel that something was not right, so the water was coming. And this is where the Göbekli Tepe comes into play. You see, this is the Göbekli Tepe, the pillar 42, I think it was. You have the little animals at the bottom. For us Navajos, we call it the black world, the dark world. Coming up to the blue world, which was the birds. And then up here, you have 3 baskets, three bags. They're not labeled. I did this labeling myself. The fowl I put because you have a picture of bird. The mammal, you have a picture of what looks like a boar. And for the insect, you have a spider. For this whole scene here, you'll find it in Genesis 6, I believe it was, the creation of land animals.
Recording. I want to thank everybody for being here with us. Shondale, it's great to see you. Looks like you've got a really cool piece of artwork behind you. And I've got some beautiful artwork that you've done for me, and I thank you very much for that. Some really cool artwork. And very, very cerebral, and it connects some of the ancient prophecies to the modern stuff that's going on. It's really cool.
We're living in interesting times.
We are living in interesting times.
You bet.
Wow, very interesting times.
It's been getting a little bit loud, I guess you would say, on the narrative run.
What do you think about this 3-eye atlas? Is there anything in Navajo prophecy or some of the stories you heard growing up that might connect to that?
Just with the 3-eye atlas, it goes back to the Greek mythology with Zeus and the whole beginning of the whole war, with the Titans and the Olympians, the Old Testament and the New Testament kind of like links up with it. But before, there used to be like 4 pillars, I believe it was. Before Atlas was the single person that's holding up what he's holding up, he's not holding up the earth, he's holding up the cosmic order. He's holding up the planet, I guess you would say. And that's what the war that's happening is, the control of the cosmic order.
Talk to us about that.
The control of the cosmic order, like I was telling you, the fire keepers, the keepers of the fire, it all goes back to the central fireplace. We call it Nahokonsbekon. Nahokonsbekon is Polaris, the triple constellation. And I believe that's where they come up with the Trinity. And everything that's 3 and 3 is the Polaris, the central fire in the middle. And us Navajos believe that the fire is in 2, which is the male and the female. I guess people call them archetypes. The archetype is pretty much the archetypical energy of the male and the female. With the female, she's represented as black, like the black clouds that come into the sky. That's the female clouds. And the reason why it's the female clouds is because the black clouds is bringing nourishment. It's bringing food for the plants. It's bringing food for the earth. It's pretty much coming down as a nurturing factor. And whereas the male archetype is represented by the white, and he's more of a purity, and he has to be clear of the vision of what he's seeing so he can go on for the hunt on a clear escapade and get what he needs to provide for the family. And with those, we come back to the Adam and Eve story. You have the archetypical masculine and the archetypical female energy. And those 2 constellations, for us Navajos, we have you have Polaris in the middle, the central fire that is going. And then for us Navajos, first lady is Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia, the W in the sky, that is representative. Cassiopeia is the first woman in the sky. And she comes around during spring, when spring is ready to nourish the earth. And then the opposite is first man, which he's represented by the Big Dipper. When the Big Dipper is tilted upside down, like it's spilling, that is like the first man laying down with the hunt, with his bow, ready to bring back some nourishment and food for the family. And these archetypical energies, I believe, is where we get the stories of Adam and Eve, like the male and the female. Because with Adam and Eve, they're kind of like told as being giants, like pretty much giant people. And when you look into the sky, the constellation, they're giants in the sky that are laid up into the sky. I have I did a quick drawing of what I'm speaking of, and you'll notice that the central fire is in the middle. It's going, and then you also have the dragon that comes across it. The dragon we hear in Samaria, like Tiamat, the Tiamat dragon or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got the man on this side, the male energy, and he also represents the river when it flows from east to west. That represents the male river. So you have early fall, you have the male laying down, ready for the hunt, first man.
And that's the Big Dipper right there.
Yeah, that's the Big Dipper. And then on this side, you have the female character, Cassiopeia. She represents the black clouds. And she also represents the blue flames. For her, the rivers that flow east to west represent her. And then in the middle, we have the fire poker, which is Polaris. And that's the central fire. The thing about vibrations that us Navajos like to go, when we sing our songs, the vibration is what brings the healing. The vibration, the definition of it, they say, is the rate of spin of an electron around the atom of a being. And for us Navajos, we believe that every being living earth, that every being that is on earth that has an engine, that has a heart that is pumping blood, can communicate in the ether realm, I guess you would say. And this is how we get our answers to what we're trying to look for. Like when we're how the medicine man travels into the ether realm and he gets his little information. And these same methods we see in RV, they call it, the remote viewing. The remote viewing is pretty much the same as Navajo shamanism, necromancy. It's the same method that's used. And I believe these same methods go back to Moses. You have the tabernacle of Moses, they call it the tabernacle of Moses, which is one of the most sacred pieces. That it's like a portable tent that he would, after they got exited from Egypt. I made a quick representation of what I'm trying to say. See, for us natives, you have the teepee, which is the temple, representative of the temple. You usually have a female here with a water basin, and she'll bless the water, waiting to come in, and you'll have a young person who stands at the fire and the altar, and here he pretty much just maintains the fire for the crowd that's gathered into the church in the temple. And in these temples, we share stories. These stories come up with the emergence, how we came out of the reed and the great flood. So it's pretty much connected with us Navajos, with like the Moses tabernacle, I guess you would say. Because with the tabernacle, you had a tent that would come up like this. That tent was covered with, I believe it was badger hide. And that's why you hear Benjamin Netanyahu talking about the honey badger, because that is what skin covered the tent for the Moses tabernacle, was badger hide. You had the badger hide, you had the brazen altar, which was for the shoe bread and all this stuff. This shoe bread is also used during the shoe game for us Navajos. And the shoe game is pretty much a game of between the dark animals and the light animals. They were playing a game of who can have the longest night and who's going to dominate the day, I guess you would say. So a game was played throughout the year. And this game is played. The trickster that comes into play is pretty much the groundhog. And that's why we have Groundhog Day, I believe, on the 33rd day of the year, which is February 2nd.
I'm taking notes as you're talking about this. This is fascinating. So the Groundhog Day was on the is on the 33rd day.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
33rd day. Yeah, because you got like January 31st, and then the 32nd day would be February 1. The 33rd would be February 2.
Wow. Okay. So
yeah, and the groundhog is the one that was kind of like being the trickster in the night and day game between the night and day animals. He was kind of like taking money on the sides, be like, "Hey, give me some cash and I'll let you win." So he would like crawl underneath wherever they would put their little shoes, their little game. They would put a piece of ball into the shoe, and the shaman, they would sing a song and they'll select which one they think it's in. And everyone, it's kind of like a Family Feud thing. Like they'll be like, this one, this one, this one, this one. And then they'll finally pick it. But when they would do that, the groundhog would go under and he'll like put it to whoever paid the most money to go to. So it's kind of like a trickster, like revealing who the trickster is, I guess you would say.
The groundhog,
is that like you have the day animals and the night animals going at it.
So, okay. So in the game, you've got the people dressing up as these different animals. And
yeah, they still play it today. They don't dress up as it. They just kind of like just reenact it and kind of like tell the stories of it. But back in the day, they say it was the real animals that were going at it. These come from the coyote stories, I believe it was.
Okay, and the coyote story, that's one of the Genesis stories of the Navajo people, correct?
Yes. The coyote story is pretty much, it's just pretty much a simpler version of scriptures, I guess you would say. Because for us, the coyote comes in two. There's the first anger and second anger. The first anger, he comes when the first man and first woman first meet each other, and they're sitting there and talking about how dark this world is and how we need to, what's going on and who are you and stuff. And so they're talking to each other, and out comes the first coyote, the first anger, and he's telling them about where they're at. And they call him, he knows the secrets of all the water, and he tells them about the area that they're in. And the area that they're in is pretty much the first world, which is all dark and black, and everything is just dark. And so he tells them that this is where you're at, and we all came from like a puddle of yolk that was water, and it melded together, and here we are. And he was just like talking about it like he knew about it and everything. And all of a sudden, like from the darkness, another voice came out, and he was all like, "You guys are so ignorant. You think you guys are made from water, milk, yolk. I came before you guys." And he was the darker coyote that was, I guess, on the outer rim of it.
Was he considered the trickster?
Yeah,
which one
they're
was the
both
trickster?
tricksters.
They're both tricksters.
Yeah.
Hmm, interesting. Okay.
And the one thing about like the Jesus character also, he's like represented. We also worship Jesus here, but we worship Jesus in the form of a pelican, they call it a water bird. The water bird that comes out, for us Navajos, we call it the blue heron. The blue heron is the god of the South. He's the protector of the South. So that character pretty much resembles the Jesus character for me, I guess you would say.
I'd never heard that before.
Yeah.
The blue heron. That reminds me of
heron.
Some of the petroglyphs. Do you think there's any petroglyphs that show the blue heron, or would that be more of like the thunderbird?
It might be the heron, because with the representation of the water bird is pretty much, it's red and a blue kind of a accent.
Okay. That's interesting. So what are some more biblical connections to the Navajo stories?
The more biblical connections would be the flood, the biblical flood, and the creation story. The creation story also links with the Göbekli Tepe. The Göbekli Tepe, the one, those pillars that are coming out, like when I was looking at it, I was like, that's exactly like our Navajo stories, from the dark world to the blue world and coming on out. And then you go back to the Indian stories, like with India and stuff, you go through their characters of the Vishnu character and what he came to Earth as. Like he came as a boar, and they have a picture of a boar down at Göbekli Tepe also. The boar came before the half lion man, I believe it was.
The half lion man, is that like y'all the Bayoff?
I forgot I think his name was Narashima or something like that. He was like a half. It was yeah. He was an Indian, like the Vishnu. When he changed into avatars, I think it was the fourth avatar. The third one was the boar hog, I believe. Because the first was the fish, turtle, and then he turned into a boar hog, then a man lion, and then like a dwarf, I believe. Then this last Vishnu that we're waiting for is supposed to be like a warrior, the Calcutta or something like that. The Kalki.
The Kalki.
Yeah, the Kalki is the 10th avatar, Satan.
That's Satan?
It's the 10th avatar of Vishnu.
And the 10th avatar of Vishnu is considered Satan?
No, it's that's just what I've been like, Satan. Like Satan to the
Oh,
number
Satan.
J, Satan, like A, B, C, D, E, F,
Yeah.
G, H, I, J. So everything comes to the number 10, like a completion, I guess you would say, a deca, the X.
Okay.
Yeah, because that would be the 10th avatar of Vishnu is what we're waiting for.
It's an interesting connection. Satan.
Yeah.
But you say that's what we're waiting for. What do you mean that's what we're waiting for?
The Kali Yuga. the yugas and all that stuff. They're pushing the golden age.
That's the 10th part of Vishnu?
I believe it is.
Wow, man. Some of the stuff you come up with, I'm like, what? What
Yeah.
the hell is he talking about?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. It's just the things that I try to talk about is universal, I guess you would say. It's not, I'm not trying to like, I am coming from a Navajo point of view, like, well, what I learned, the things that I learned are from growing up. I learned from my grandfathers that took us to, we were basically forced to go to these meetings, like go to the meetings, and they talked about the end times, and they talked about what is coming and where we came from, I guess you would say.
What perspective? From a Navajo perspective or from a Christian perspective? Because didn't you say your parents were like, your mom, was it your mom or your dad that was Christian, and your dad was like super free bird, Navajo, like enjoy the world? Not,
yeah, you bet.
No walls.
Yeah. It was from the Navajo perspective, the coming up with, because from the Navajo perspective, the people that were passing away when I was in the 80s, they were in their 80s also. They were in their 80s and 90s, and they were talking about these days that are here right now, about men marrying men and all this stuff. And when you just look at the numbers are lining up. Like if you go from October 7, 2023, when this supposed siege is taking place with Israel and Palestine, you go all the way to the Feast of Trumpets, that whole viral thing that's going around now. People are saying the rapture is coming on September 23rd, 2025, and get ready, we're going to get lifted up and this and that. I'm not saying they're crazy and all that stuff, but the significant thing about that is it's 717 days between October 7, 2023 and September 23rd, 2025. 717. It's like, whatever. But 717, when you look at it, it creates a Hebrew. It creates Hebrew glyphs. It creates a Hebrew word, which is Dalet, Vav, Dalet. Dalet, Vav, Dalet, which is the name of David. The Dalet is the symbol of a door also. They call it a door. So you got the Dalet, the door, the Vav is the nail. So you got door, nail, door. Door, nail, door. And then from there, the Israelis, they love the number 777. That's their number. That's their superstar. And you want to guess what the 7/7 day is?
Yeah, what is it?
It's the anniversary of JFK. The JFK assassination, which was November 22.
Oh, so 11/22. How is that 7/7?
Yeah.
So there's 777 days between.
Yeah, from between there and October 7, 2023, when Israel began their war.
Huh.
And that will be the 62nd anniversary since JFK, I believe, was assassinated. And this number is also very, like, it's very unique. It's a very unique number. The number 62, 6 and 2, because those two numbers, it comes with a special passage, Isaiah 62, which is the new name of Zion.
So that's going to happen this year, you think? A new Zion?
the time is ticking. Yeah, it's ripe for that change, that universal change, I guess you would say.
What are some other connections that you see with this being the time, like the biblical numbers and stuff? Have you got some other ones?
Just with the 666 day, it was like right on August 2nd, I think it was August 2nd or August 3rd of this year, which was the 666 day.
What happened then? Did anything extraordinary happen?
That's when they stopped. I believe they stopped the war, and they had a little bit of peace, and they started like giving food. They kind of eased up for a bit, I guess you would say.
Easing up on the 666 day.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting how everything is going down, and they believe like they have really strong beliefs, I guess you would say, of what they see in the world. And for a long time, Jesus has been weaponized. Some people don't really know that Jesus was weaponized during the Underground Railroad times. That Harriet Truman lady, she used to sing "Free Me, Jesus" or something like that. "Set me free, Jesus." She would walk around outside the plantation and just sing that song with her little umbrella. Plantation guys were like, "So is this an old lady singing her songs?" And she would sing that song, and the slaves on the plantation, they knew, like, okay, there's a train going to be waiting, so they would escape. And that's how they used Jesus, I guess you would say. And one of her last words was, "Swing low, chariot," I believe it was, when she passed away. "Swing low, chariot." And it came down, and that's how she was taken away. And she weaponized Jesus. And I believe that after that, it was just studied, and that's what we're at again. We're back at the weaponized Jesus phase again.
Yeah. You were telling me a little bit about this earlier. Let's go into detail on this. Can you explain to people what you mean by weaponizing Jesus?
Yeah, weaponizing Jesus is if you don't believe in him, you're going to hell, I guess you would say. And what that hell is here on earth is El Salvador right now. The bottomless pit. You'll get taken to El Salvador, or I don't know. But it's pretty much, the Crusades have been happening like there's a timeline that happens on the Crusades that is a time to force people into that realm, I guess you would say.
Okay.
Yeah. For like Christianity, it comes in like two, because you have the co-optics, which is the co-optics or whatever, which is like Egypt. They believe in like the Christ-like, like they believe in, if you study this, you'll be like Christ. You'll become like Christ. That is the Egyptian teaching of Jesus. And then the difference between them and the Vatican, which is, they believe in the Immaculate Conception, which is the Mother Mary came in here and she had no sin, and that's how Jesus came about. And the Egyptian Jesus people, they don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, religion's pretty insane, man.
Yeah,
beliefs are pretty powerful.
Yeah, then you have like the Pharisees and the Sadducees also. The Pharisees and the Sadducees. The Pharisees, they keep track of the laws. You know, the law. This is what the law is and all the stuff. And the Sadducees, they keep track of the temple. So you have the law and the temple. Pretty much like the same concept of a hardware and software. You have the hardware, this is what the rules are, basically. Or the hardware, this is the program. The software, this is the rules, and this is how you go about it. This is what you do. "Thou shalt not worship false idols" is the first commandment of the no eye laws.
Yeah. Very interesting, man. We live in amazing times. It's equally as fascinating as it is frightening.
You betcha.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have this little picture that I drew, or diagram that I made out, and it's an interesting study of. Do you believe in the Egyptians coming to here in America?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think they've been here. Like, you mean way back in the day, and ancient, and thousands of years ago? I think so.
Oh,
yeah.
For us Navajos, that was one of the first teachings that I received. When I was a young kid, was that they really highlight the Vikings coming here. Like, we praise it. My middle name is actually Eric, and my mom told me that she named me after Leif Erikson because he was a Viking, I guess. So I share a connection with this Viking creed, I guess you would say, and I believe that.
Now, real quick, when you were saying Egyptian, you went from Egyptian to Viking.
Egyptian to Vikings. Yeah.
First you said you believe the American. You said you think that the Egyptians made it to America, and I said yes, and then you went from there to the Vikings. So
they're pretty much in the same spot. Like, the Vikings are on the East Coast, and then you have the Egyptians, like they're telling us, in the Grand Canyon area.
Right. I'm just wondering why you went from.
This is the diagram. This is the diagram that I was going to display to you. It's pretty much. It'll show what I'm speaking of, I guess you would say.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
So it's a blend of this is a universal talk, I guess you would say. I'm not really trying to funnel into one culture, one colonization, one time.
Yeah.
Because we as humans are here on this globe together, and we are scattered. We are constantly destroyed and constantly brainwashed. We are constantly fed different material. We are constantly fed different nutrients to see what is in front of us. And for me, what I'm trying to provide is a buffet of understanding, so everyone would understand all walks of life, from the Asian people to the Nordics of the North to the Middle Eastern, and this pretty much universal to the Mexicans and the Spaniards.
We're all on this planet together.
Oh yeah. So can I display you the
little
diagram I got?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Again, I appreciate you for
Oh, the feeling's mutual, bro. Feeling's mutual. I'm just doing my best to keep up with you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say somewhat structured.
A little bit weird or something.
Little structure.
I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
You got it?
Looks good, yeah.
Okay. So right here I have the Americas. You have the Americas, which is divided here. You'll find this on the internet. They call it the Western Interior Seaway. But on the internet, they'll tell you it was a couple of million years ago, back in the Crustacean years. Right? Anyways, when you come here, you'll go to Minnesota, and you'll find the Kensington Runestones. Kensington Runestones is located here. You come down a little bit more, in Oklahoma, they have some runestones also, which is called the Heavener. The Heavener runestones. And then on this side of Montana, there's a replica of the Kensington runestones. So it would make sense if the Vikings did come in from this way. And they came in and they parked here, maybe. Yeah, so the Kensington runestones, it had on the runestones, it said 8 Godolanders and 22 Northmen. On this exploration, that runestone was found covered, wrapped up in roots of like an aspen tree. And that word aspen is a Greek word that means shield. So it was labeled as like a hoax and all that stuff. Like, no, that's not true and whatever. But it's like, why was it there? And why was it wrapped up in aspen tree roots?
Right. Right. It was labeled as a hoax, but they never confirmed it as a hoax.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we have the flood here, the flood story for us Navajos. It's pretty much showing that water did come to the earths, I guess you would say. And for us Navajos, the locust is the one that told us Navajos that the water was coming. We could not see the water coming, but the insect was able to feel the vibrations. He could feel something was not right, I guess you would say. So the water was coming. And the Navajos, we were quickly trying to figure a way out to trying to get out of here. So Turquoise Boy comes around again. I was telling you about Turquoise Boy. He kind of reminds me of a binary person, like a LGBT kind of type of character. He came with the male reed, and they planted a male reed, and it was able to grow and take us Navajos out of the world that was being flooded. And this is where the Göbekli Tepe comes into play. You see, this is the Göbekli Tepe, the pillar 42, I think it was. You have the little animals at the bottom. For us Navajos, we call it the black world, the dark world, I guess you would say. Coming up to the blue world, which was the birds. And then up here you have three baskets, three bags. They're not labeled. I did this labeling myself. The fowl I put because you have a picture of a bird. The mammal, you have a picture of what looks like a boar. And for the insect, you have a spider. For this whole scene here, you'll find it in Genesis 6, I believe it was. The creation of land animals. And then for these on the Göbekli Tepe, I'm not sure, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 marks.
And what do you think the 11 marks stand for?
Maybe how long the world was dark. The interesting thing about right here, you have like an eye. Like that letter I looking.
Yeah.
With that letter I looking, that's how the stadium for the Mayan, you know the Mayans?
Yeah.
How they would play their little head game where they would kick the head through the circle?
Yeah.
Yeah. With the Mayan head game, if you look at it also, it kind of has around the circle, it has a Celtic knot. So that kind of like ties it to the Vikings, I guess you would say. And they would be located down here. So you have a straight. Right. On this Heavener runestone in Oklahoma, all it has is like the marking that pretty much that's people say it was a sundial. That just says sundial, I guess you would say. And then there's another runestone around Shawnee, Oklahoma, which has like the initials MLDOK. MLDOK. So I don't know if that's Moloch, Moldoc, or whatever. But it's kind of pretty interesting, I guess you would say.
Very interesting.
Yeah. And on this side, I have what happens in a peyote meeting teepee. Like I was telling you, the Jesus that we believe comes out as a water bird. And this is the hey nay yos that we sing and it comes out. I have a group here pointing out the cosmic order that is happening. And for me personally, I believe this is the beast with 10 horns. This green line right here represents, right now I'm going to speak about the Sephirot tree. The green line represents the Empress. And the way they teach this is that the Empress, this is her crown of 10, I guess you would say. The cosmic order. For the cosmic order, you have the 3 positive integers on the top. You have Neptune, the pillar at the top. Neptune. The interesting thing about Neptune, he's also the god that was keeping Odysseus away from going back home. So you have Neptune here is the gatekeeper of ascension. You have Neptune. You have 2 directions. If you go to if you're standing this way, it would be our left. If we're standing to our right. So if we go to our left, this is the magician path. The right is the fool path. We go to Uranus. If we go to the magician path, we go to Saturn. If we go to the fool path, I guess you would say. And the interesting thing about this whole thing, like I was telling you, the beast with 10 horns, that comes back to Revelation 13. And the dragon stood on the shore of the sea, and I saw a beast come out of the sea. It had 10 horns and 7 heads. The interesting thing about Israel, they believe in this cosmic order. They believe in magic. And they also held the 7 Noahide laws. The first Noahide law was, thou shalt not worship false idols. So all of this will be abolished. Jesus will be abolished.
What are the remaining 7?
The remaining 7?
Yeah, the 7 laws.
Oh, thou shalt not use God's name in vain. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not eat flesh. Turn from a living animal, and thou shalt establish courts of justice. Oh, and the interesting thing about that is, like, the killing the animal. That is what we're trying to go into, is these 5 red heifers, I guess you would say, the ritual with the 7 red heifers. And with our current president right now, he paints his face orange. And back in the Greek times, that's what they would call the Apollonic. How they would march around like Apollo. So he's kind of like a red bull, doing what bulls do. And the rest of this, I have the timeline. This is pretty much the timeline that we're living on right now. From the top, we have, this is when we were in the Garden of Eden, I guess you would say.
Can you get that closer?
Here in about.
Can you get that closer, Shondale?
2026.
Also, if you want to send me this image, I'll see if I can zoom in on it and show it also.
You bet.
Great job on this, man.
Yeah. So pretty much this shows like the timeline of where we're at. When we come up here, June 29 is when the Sumerian planisphere, an impact happened here on Earth, they say. And this is when Troy 1 began. The Kali Yuga is up here also. The Book of Hammurabi, King Tut times. And this is where Jesus departed from us here, the year 0 AD. So as you can see, we're pretty much, we're still young. We're not that old as they're telling us. And when you track this, and I believe the dark sun is the solar eclipse, the black sun that these worshippers worship. When I gauged it, this extended line here is exactly 300 years. So is that the Council of 300? We don't know. So I believe the black sun is like a solar eclipse. And one of the most big solar eclipse that's coming up is August 2, 2027, the year of the goat. It's going to be directly over the Giza 3 in Egypt. In the middle here, I got the time. 45 times 45 equals 2025, the current year we are in, the year of the snake. When you go 3975 plus 2025, we get 6,000 exactly. I got this number here from when time began, according to the Israelites.
What's the 45 times the 45?
45 degrees is an angle. 45 degrees is the perfect half of a half, I guess you would say. You get 45 and 45, you get a perfect 90.
Then you multiply it and you're showing 2025.
Yes.
This year. So are you saying that this year is going to be a big year because of that?
Oh yeah, it's been marked. I mean, our president already announced that the golden age is here. He already said that we are in the golden age.
What are your thoughts on that?
I believe he's the king that is here, that was chosen to usher in these times that we are in right now. I mean, we can see it evident in every facet of life. We see people arguing in the streets. We see people praising each other. We see the horrific acts yesterday with Charlie Kirk. And it's just a terrible moment, I guess you would say, right now that we're in. It's like an entire change of everything that we've come to know of what life is, I guess you would say.
That doesn't sound very golden.
It doesn't sound really golden if you're not playing, I guess you would say. But if you're playing the game, I mean, you can make a lot of money. There's a lot of people that are investing and making a killing on whatever is going on. So the people that know what is happening, they're profiting off of doom.
Hence the golden age.
Yeah,
literally.
And the thing that these wizard witches and warlocks, they like to play with numbers, and they call it the mixing of numbers, I guess you would say, the strobogrammatic number, which is you can turn the number upside down. Well, you can turn it either way out, I guess you would say, and it'll make a 180 degree display of what it is, like 6-9 or 9-9, 6-6.
Yeah. tell us more about that. Like, what do you mean by that? They're flipping numbers for what purpose, and how are they doing it? How are they flipping numbers in anything significant except for having an event take place on a specific date? Is that what you're referring to?
Well, today is like
September 11th. Yeah.
When you put 9/11 into the Roman numeric brackets, you get the 1x1. So you have like a strobogrammatic number. You can flip this any way that you want, and it'll be that. It's like two x's caged up. So you have the strobogrammatic number. The thing about 9/11 also, it has 110. It has 110 stories. That number 110 is very biblical, I guess you would say. It goes in a lot of directions, because that was the age of Joseph when he passed away, 110 years old. You know, Joseph, the stepfather energy of Jesus. Mm-hmm. So it comes from that stepfather. It's like a exchange of a guardian.
Right on, Shondale. Much appreciated, brother. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Jump on over to our Patreon page to watch the rest of this uncensored, ad-free, as well as thousands of hours of exclusive content only available on our Patreon page. Check us out. You'll be glad you did. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Be excellent to each other, and be the change you want to see.